Well, now after a long holiday, let us get back to our studies. Yeah, just a minute. Yes. Today we're going to have a very special study. Now, today's study, I'm so excited, so I want to share this with you. You're the first people who are going to study this. You see, the research I'm doing, sometimes we get what's called cutting edge. We discover new things, which is quite surprising actually. Now it is about the Venerable Ananda. You all know Ananda is very famous, right? What do you know about Ananda? Yes? Some of the things, do you know? What do you know about him? Yes, photographic memory. He can remember the suttas very well. He also can chant very fast. Okay. And he's sometimes called the treasurer of the Dhamma, because he preserves the teachings, and during the first council he recited all the suttas. And he has some uniqueness. For example, even while still alive, he only attained white level. He only attained stream winning. I mean, all the other great disciples are all arahats, But Ananda, who is closest to the Buddha, all the 45 years of the Buddha's ministry, the Buddha taught for 45 years, all that time he was only a stream winner. He probably became a stream winner in the second year, of the Buddha's ministry. Can you imagine how long? 43 years. So, one reason he was still a stream winner is because he was the Buddha's personal attendant, very close to the Buddha, taking good care of the Buddha. Now, you all have heard of the word valet, right? Or butler. It's a personal attendant, this English butler, very loyal to their lords, So Ananda is like that, very loyal to the Buddha, very caring of the Buddha. He can almost sense, the Buddha is sick or needs something. So he's like that. And not only that, he's very aware of other people. So he's also very good PR, public relations monk. So he's always caring for the lay people. Make sure the lay people have a chance to ask questions. If they are shy, he will help them to ask. He's always respectful of the women. When the Buddha passed away, he knew it was already late night. He let the women pay respect to the Buddha first. And the monks were not too happy because the women came in first. Then later he explained, well, it's going to be late night, so let the women show respect and then go home safely. So he's like that, very, very thoughtful, very kind, always caring about people. And that's the Bodhisattva spirit, if you like. Okay, so in a sense, if you want to talk about the first Bodhisattva, you might say Ananda is the first Bodhisattva, if you like. Of course, Buddha also was a Bodhisattva. So Ananda is like that, very caring. In fact, I just read one sutta today from the Samyutta Nikaya, the verses, chapter 1. It's a very short sutta. According to the commentary to this sutta, this was after the Buddha has passed away, and Ananda is going around with the Buddha's robe and bowl to show people, let people show their respect, and all the lay people are very sad. They visit him, they come and see him, ask him all kind of questions. They're very sad, they ask for advice, consolation, and so on. And Ananda is always there to can respond to them. Very busy monk. In fact, he was so busy until the forest deva decided to warn him, rebuke him, because this deva probably is a relative, This deva must be thinking, this Ananda, he's so kind to people, he's forgetting himself. He's supposed to be meditating in the forest, but here he is, socializing with the villagers, with other people, talking to them. And in fact, the deva says, here you are, you have gone into the forest, you have put your heart into nirvana, and what are you, Bili Karate, That means Bili Bilika, that means tittle tattle. What are you chit-chatting and socializing with all these lay people? You must exert effort now. Right? In other words, don't forget the Buddha's teaching. Right? So it's very short story. That's all. This Deva arouses Sangvega. Right? This place is called Sangvega, isn't it? A sense of urgency. In other words, life is short. We got to practice now. Don't wait until it's too late. Some people say, when you're young, enjoy life, grow old, can be religious. By the time you grow old, you can't think well already, so I have to be religious. Right? So we have the sense of urgency right now, meaning now. Okay? So after that, Ananda got the message. He started meditating. Now, what is interesting about Ananda is, yes, we know he's a stream winner. We have one sutta which mentioned that he is a stream winner. Okay? That sutta is where Ananda himself says, his name is teacher Punna Mantani Putta. Okay? He says, I'm very grateful to my teacher. When I became a monk, he taught us, not only him, there are a few others, Anuruddha, Bagu, Timbila, Devadatta, and so on. So, but of course there are a few of them. Devadatta was not a stream winner yet, unfortunately. But other monks, Anuruddha became arahats, Bagu became arahat very fast. So Ananda was very grateful to his teacher, Punna. He says, this teacher taught us so very well. And then he listed the teaching in the sutta and said, at the end of it, I became a stream winner. Okay, so we know he became a stream winner. Now the mystery is, we do not know when or how he became an arahat. I love this detective problems, in the suttas. And we discover a lot of new things. And if you go around the temples, you find the wisest Buddhist speaker or some Buddhist scholars even, and ask them this question, see whether they can answer. And you find there are many questions, which still today cannot answer. But they are there in the suttas. You got to look deep into the sutta and put all the pieces, the clues together. Okay? So today I brought you one such sutta. This sutta is called the Ananda Sankita Dhamma Sutta, which I think, and in fact I'm quite sure, actually tells us about how he became an arahat. So this is a special sutta I'm sharing with you. Okay, here you are. I'm passing the suttas to you now. And this one's yours. You keep it, you can make notes, write down whatever notes you want on it. This sutta is from volume 50, chapter 15. So it's SD 50.15. Okay. Now remember, when you see a sutta like this, first look at the top right hand corner. The title, you have brackets, Ananda Sankita Dhamma Sutta. See the original title without the brackets, Sankita Dhamma. Sankita simply means in brief. Dhamma in brief. Now whenever you hear the word Sankita Dhamma, you can guess that this monk has gone to the Buddha and asked the Buddha, please give me a short teaching so that I can go into solitary meditation. Meditate alone to practice and become an arahat, in other words. Sankita Dhamma, short teaching. Because when you want to go into retreat, you don't want a long teaching because you want to meditate. Right? So then they come back and they meditate, you become arahats, and then they come back and announce to the Buddha. Okay? So this is that kind of sutta, Sankita Dhamma. So this is the first clue we have that this sutta is about becoming an arahat. Okay? And this sutta is given to Ananda. So I put brackets in front, Ananda Sankita Sutta. The Ananda discourse on the Dhamma in brief. If you cannot remember the name, remember the number. Okay, what is the number? S 35.86. Right, so you can remember either one. The theme on Ananda's attaining arahathood. All right. Okay, so here you are. This is the sutta. Now I'm going to explain the sutta to you. Okay. Now, this sutta is a reflection. It's a very simple sutta actually. It is a reflection on what are called the 18 elements. 18 elements. What are the 18 elements? Anyone can guess 18 elements? Buddhism got a lot of numbers. 18 is 3 times 6 in this case. 3 times 6. Okay, what do you think is 3 times 6 here? 6 here refers to the 6 senses. Okay? And the Buddha taught Ananda to reflect on the 6 senses in 3 ways. That's what we're going to find out in a while. What does it mean? Remember, this sutta made Ananda an Arahat. This is the secret, if you like. So imagine if you practice the sutta, what will happen? Okay? at least stream winning. At least stream winning. Okay? The question is, how do you do it? Okay? Now, when you look at the sutta, one of the first things you notice in a good sutta, really good sutta from the Buddha's time, there are a lot of repetition. A lot of repetition. Okay? Now, I just want to show you one example. You turn to the section 2. Can you see the big number at the top? Number 1, the I, right? And then you see that I've divided up, I've used a lot of space, so easy to look, you see. One of my students complained to me, I thought somebody died, or I was so upset, you see. Oh, your translation so dense, no paragraph, So after that, I start putting lots of paragraphs. So now people don't complain. Easy to see, all right? In a sense, that's true. I was trying to save space, save paper, actually. But I suppose people must be happy to look at it, spacious, easier. So you notice a lot of repetition, every space, every paragraph is one cycle. We call it cycle. So number 1 is called the eye cycle. Number 2, the ear cycle. Number 3, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Okay? A lot of repetition. Now you just look at the eye part. What do you think, Ananda? Is the eye permanent or impermanent? And then Ananda replies, impermanent, Bhante. And then, now, what is impermanent? Is it suffering or pleasurable? Suffering, Bhante. Oh, very easy. And then, number 4, now, is that which is impermanent, suffering, subject to change, fit to be seen as this is mine, this I am, this is myself? Not at all, Bhante. This is the key passage you must know. Okay? So what does this passage teach us? This is about the I. We reflect on the I from what teaching here? The 3 characteristics. 3 characteristics, what are they? Impermanence, suffering, non-self. Right, there you are. This is the one. Okay? The I, anicca, dukkha, anatta. And it goes on like that. So 3, anicca, dukkha, anatta, right? Times 6, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, you get 18. So this is called the 18 element cycle. Alright? You might not find this elsewhere because this is the name I gave to this, so that it's easy to remember. Okay? Now, some people say, oh, a lot of repetition here. So they just take the first line, etc. This is one of the problems with what I call the commercial translation. In fact, some scholars have complained. They say, yes, it's nice to have, say, all the suttas, Majjhima Nikaya, all in one volume, very convenient. But if you shorten all these things, then you don't know what the Buddha is talking really. You only know one line, and it's etc. You don't know what etc. is. In fact, at the earlier time I translated this, I followed the shortened form of the sutta. I missed out some important section. Luckily, I looked at one of the Singlish version. The sutta is laid out in full. I said, oops, some parts are missing. Right, so it is not good to skip, to shorten, to say etc. Because during the Buddha's time, when the suttas were chanted, oral tradition, a few hundred years after the Buddha's time, everything's recited complete. It's just like computer program, you know. If you remove any line, even a word, it won't work. So you must chant everything complete. Now the question is this. In fact, I was researching also, and I discovered I was thinking about this and I wrote about it today. When did people introduce these peyalas, this etc., and shorten everything? It is when they started writing down the suttas. See, once you write down the sutta, you can see the repetition. You say, oh yeah, look at all this repetition, same thing, you know. Why don't we just say etc.? So, in fact, that's quite true, because when I checked the dictionary quoted the Vimana Watu commentary, the commentary to one of the stories about the devas in the heavens. The commentator says, some books, it says some books, ekachesu potaka kesu. Potaka means book. In Malay, pustaka. Sanskrit, pustaka means book. It said, in some books, they shorten the passages. I said, there's a clue there. All this shortening started when the suttas were written down, because they wanted to save space, maybe they say, this part is boring, you know. But if you really want to have the effect of the suttas, you must have it complete. You cannot shorten anything, then it's missing. So there's one scholar in England called Alice Cousins. He has passed away. He's a very serious scholar. He's a meditator also. He says if the Buddha said one word 10 times, you know, you say, wow, so many times. He shortened it to just one time. He said, then you have missed the whole point, you know. You have totally removed what the Buddha is trying to say. The meditative aspect is gone. Remember, the sutta is it's not so much to be read. We are modern people, we like to read, which is good. But the real thing, you want the effect of the sutta, you record it. You record it and then you listen. You're going to meditate, okay, you listen to it, you feel very peaceful. And then you switch off and then you meditate. Or you just listen to the teaching also can. And then slowly, first you know what the teaching is. Knowing, I like to say this, knowing is a burden. Knowledge is a burden. Because you may know a lot of things, but you may not understand it. So the next thing is we understand. Understand means what? You begin to see the meaning, application, and understand. So second level, and then you live it, you practice it. Then it becomes wisdom. So knowledge, understanding, wisdom. That means you're going to be enlightened. All right. So there you are. Read the sutta in full. All right. Maybe just a part. You know, you don't have to read everything. Don't torture yourself. Just take what you can. Like you can just take one section on the I alone. Just reflect on it, and you find the rest all will come in. Or you just take the first part, understand it first, and then another day, second part. You know, sometimes I've done like 10,000 pages of all these things, but sometimes I do just one paragraph for 1 hour, one paragraph, and then 3 hours I'll be playing with my cat, you know, and then another few minutes I put something else. But I always keep on doing this. And I find that the longer suttas, I usually take 1 month on it to finish. And of course, I will check it again. So in other words, bit by bit, little by little. So don't feel like, wow, I must finish a sutta at one time. No, not like that. Bit by bit, bit by bit. Then you get it. Okay, so no rush. Okay? Yet at the same time, you must be urgent also. You cannot say no rush means not doing it at all. It's very different. Right? Okay? So that's the first thing you must know. Okay, let's look at the sutta now. Ananda Sankita Dhamma Sutta, the Ananda Discourse on Dhamma in brief. Sitting down at one side, the Venerable Ananda said to the Blessed One, okay, now the Buddha is still alive, so Ananda is talking to the Buddha. Okay, this is section 1. Ananda is talking, Bhante, it would be good if the Blessed One were to give me a teaching in brief, a short teaching. Having heard such a teaching from
page 7.
Yeah, page 7.
Now page 8.
Yeah. Look at section 1, and then the Next paragraph. Having heard, can you see the word having heard? Having heard such a teaching from the Blessed One, I might dwell alone, aloof, diligent, exertive, and resolute. Now, once you see this kind of line, it means this monk is going into solitary retreat. This is called a stop passage. The technical name is pericope. Okay? This monk is taking leave to go into retreat alone. Is going to become an arhat. And at the end of the sutta, there will be a line. And Venerable so is now an arhat. Okay, that's the usual sutta, right? So we know here Ananda is requesting the Buddha for a short teaching. He was going to meditation, become arhat. Now I've been thinking about this sutta for months, Sometimes you can think about it, as we say in Singapore, you are still blurred, you don't know what's going on. And then suddenly it just comes very clear. Usually this insight comes to me when I get up early in the morning, when I don't think about anything, very nice, I get up, oh, I'm still alive, very happy, very peaceful, very quiet. And then I say, oh yes, this is what the sutta means, And that's when I quickly wash myself, or sometimes I don't wash myself, go straight to the computer to write this down. So the question now is, I ask myself is, when did Ananda ask the Buddha for this final instruction? Just imagine, Ananda served the Buddha 45 years. Here Ananda said, I want to go into retreat. It couldn't be in the early days, because Ananda was always there taking care of the Buddha. And there is no record in the suttas anywhere Ananda asking for this kind of...
Sorry, served the Buddha for 45 years? I thought 50
no,
years.
sorry, the Buddha taught for 45 years. Ananda served the Buddha the last 25 years. Okay, just to be sure. First 20 years, all kinds of monks served the Buddha. They didn't serve very well. When the Buddha was 55 years old, he announced, he said, no, I'm not getting any younger. I need someone who can really be dedicated to be my personal attendant, my valet, if you like. So everyone volunteered, including Sariputta, So the Buddha was say, too young, too old, too busy, no. Until Ananda was sitting, Ananda didn't say anything, he sat down there very quietly, And then Buddha looked at Ananda and said, Ananda, what about you? Why don't you volunteer? And you know what Ananda said? He said, Bhante, if you want me, you would say so. So the Buddha said, okay, I appoint you. And you know what Ananda said? Okay, there are certain conditions. He gave the Buddha conditions. Now, he's very wise, you see. Now, I can't remember all the conditions, but it's there. If you look up the dictionary of Pali proper names, everything is there. Some of the important ones I remember. One of the things he told the Buddha, whatever good things you get, like robes and food, you don't share with me. You cannot share with me. That's obvious, right? Because people will say, Ananda became the Buddha's first attendant to get good food, good robes. So he said, no perks. Okay. Then the next thing is very important. He told the Buddha, the next condition, whatever teaching that you gave in my absence, you must teach me again. So Ananda hears all the teachings of the Buddha the last 25 years of the Buddha's life. Okay? But remember, Ananda became a monk in the second year of the Buddha's ministry. So Ananda was present, almost throughout the Buddha's dispensation, the Buddha's ministry, right? All right, so he became the Buddha's personal attendant with all these conditions. He's listening to the Dharma all the time. He's got good memory. Okay, and then during the first council after Buddha passed away, 3 months after Buddha passed away, the monks gathered together. I think it's outside the Seven-Leaf Cave. About 500 monks. I mean, you have gone to I don't know how many of you have seen the Seven-Leaf Cave, Satapani Cave in India. It's a very small cave. Hardly 20 people can go in. So it's probably outside the cave, not inside. Unless in the Buddha's time the cave was huge and then it sank down, that's possible. Or the earth came up, So anyway, so 500 arahats were there. And then Ananda recited the suttas for the monks for our benefit. Okay, so back to this question now. When did Ananda ask the Buddha for leave to go into solitary retreat? Anyone can guess here? I only realized this yesterday, That's why I'm so excited to share with you. Any guess? Any guesses? My guess is that he requested the Buddha during the last few days of the Buddha's life, when the Buddha was passing away. But it's not recorded in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. This is the only document we have showing that Ananda requested the Buddha for final instructions. I mean, it makes sense, because he couldn't have asked the Buddha for this final instruction, this request to take leave to go into retreat earlier than that. He knows the Buddha is going to pass away, so obviously he must request this final instructions. Otherwise, the Buddha has passed away, you can't. You don't get teachings, But he couldn't go into retreat while the Buddha was still lying down on his deathbed, because he's taking care of the Buddha, and it's so sad. He wants people to meditate, So he asked for the instruction, but he didn't execute it until the Buddha has passed away. Now I'm jumping conclusion a bit. You look at the end of the sutta, you find something very strange. You look at 63. Now 63, last page, right at the end. Can you see section 63? Always look at that section number. That's why I refer to for easy reference. Can you see 63? The path pericope. He understands. Destroyed his birth. The holy life has been lived. What needs to be done has been done. There is no more of this state of being. This is the paragraph that introduces the arising of arahathood in the monk. But it stops there. It ends there. Nothing more. But we know that during Buddha's time, Ananda was taught an arahat. Whereas if you look at other suttas which talk about, say, Anuruddha or other great monks, Mahamalunkyara Putta, the next line will say something like, and then Mahamalunkyara Putta was one of the arahats. That line is missing. No such statement. In other words, Ananda did not become an arahat according to the sutta. So my question is, why do you have such a sutta, but Ananda is not an arahat? Alright? Some scholars will say, oh, probably this sutta is forged. I said, not possible, we were talking about an early sutta. This is the clue. See, now we've got to ask ourselves, what really happened? This is what makes sutta translation really interesting. It's a detective research which not many people know about. Okay? So, let me tell you what happened. Ananda made final requests from the Buddha. Buddha passes away, and then only Ananda practiced and became an arahat. Right? How did Ananda become an arahat? He tried very hard. You remember he was still going around socializing, and then the Deva said, hey, Gotama, he called the Deva calls Ananda, he says, Gotama, please put in effort to meditate. And then he went into meditation. He was supposed to join the 499 monks in the council. The monks want him to come along also because he's the Buddha's personal attendant. But he's not yet an arahat. So they left an empty seat for him. Okay, Mahakassapa is the president. They left an empty seat for him, waiting for him. So that the night before he was meditating very hard to get to attain arahathood. Nothing happened. So, nothing happens, we might as well go to sleep. So he was going to go to sleep, you see. He was all the time very mindful. So he was going to lie down, okay, very mindful, One leg bent, one arm on the bed, body inclines, going to lie down. Suddenly at that moment, he's neither standing, walking, sitting or lying down. None of the four postures. Normally human beings, we must be in one of the four postures, You got enlightened in one of the four postures. Even the Buddha got enlightened sitting down, right? But Ananda got into that very strange, precarious situation, none of the four postures. He immediately became enlightened, an arahant. And then next day, zap, he appears with all the monks, 100 monks. There are various versions of the story. Some say he appeared in the sky, some say he came up from underground, some say some devas from Sudawasa appeared to the monks and announced. Anyway, he was there. And Mahakassapa was so happy. Mahakassapa is a very serious monk, He was so happy, he said, "Whoa, this is wonderful, sadhu." He was so happy. Ananda is finally an arahat, and they could start the first council. Okay, so that's Ananda's awakening, But still doesn't answer when did this happen, right? Okay, so we know, or we can intelligently guess, make an educated guess. Ananda asked the Buddha final instruction. That is why there is no ending. There's no ending saying Ananda became one of the arahats. Because what you have here is only the instruction, not the story of Ananda's arahathood. Just the instruction on it. Okay? But why wasn't there a sutta that records Ananda became one of the arahats? What's so difficult about that? They couldn't do this because this happened after the Buddha passed away. After the Buddha passed away, and the monks are all over the place already. And Ananda felt that it is not important to record this anyway, because usually someone else records it, you see. So because everyone is so busy with the Buddha's passing away, the monks now scattered, there is no special sutta which says Ananda became one of the arahats. This is the best clue you have. Because this sutta is unique, it gives you what is called the arahathood pericope or arahathood cycle, but without mentioning the person became an arahat. Isn't that strange? So don't you think of all the logical possibilities. The person did become an arahat, but there was no mention of it. Now next question you must ask is, why is there no mention of it? You go on like that, you question, you see, and then you have to answer yourself. I have to answer it myself because I can't find any monk now in the world to help me. So I have to think for myself. But it's not difficult. If you just allow it, it takes a few months, and then the answers just fit together with the suttas. And of course, very often I have to revise this answer. But this time I'm quite sure. So I put everything here together. And I told myself, wow, this class is so diligent. You are the first people I want to share this with. Yeah, very wonderful. No? All right, so. All right, so that's the beautiful story behind this very humble-looking sutta. Now, I can't imagine people who look down on early Buddhism. People will say, "Oh, this is inferior, Hinayana." They're missing a lot of things, aren't they? So we're talking about real beautiful stories of the arahats and how we ourselves can also be part of this wonderful journey. Okay, now let us join the journey now. Okay, so Ananda asked for the teaching in brief. Okay, now I'm going to back to the start, section 1, just above section 2. Can you see the number 2 there? Okay. Now before number 2, what heading do you see there? Reflections on the 18 elements. Okay. Now all these subheaders I put there so easy for you. Next thing is you look at the other header. Number 1, the eye. Can you see that? And then further down, number 2 is what? The ear. And then further down, number 3. And then number 4. And then further down, body, and then the last one, number 6, the mind. Now this is the main part of the sutta, 6 sections. So you see, this Sutta Discovery, very easy to study. Everything got numbers. If you look at some other translations, everything is, what do you call that? Like concertina, or squeezed into one without heading, so it's a bit difficult to read. For me, it's okay. You know, the Thai Tipitaka is even more difficult. No paragraphing. Everything beginning to end is one sentence. Like one sentence. So you have to look carefully. You got to take a pencil, gently mark it, and say, okay, this is the beginning, this is the end of the paragraph, beginning of the paragraph. But it's there. If you know the sutta, you know where to look. That's the important thing. The Thais have this idea. You don't have to paragraph. It's there. You look, you can see. I was in Thailand. I lived there long enough. So they are that kind of very simple people. You look at it, they say, you know it's there, it's good enough, you know. Okay, so let's look at section 1 now. The reflection on the 18 elements. So first you got the I. And if you look at the I, the Buddha says, the I impermanent or not? Okay, of course it's permanent. Next thing is the I is unsatisfactory, suffering. Third, no self. Okay, this is what the first section is saying. Alright? Let me just read one more time just to be sure. I'm reading number 2 now, section 2. So this is called catechism, question answer. It's also called the Socratic method. Basically, it's the Buddha's method anyway. Very easy question, very easy answer. In other words, the sutta is telling us the answer is already inside us. We just need to bring it up. It's like we are sleeping. We got to awaken. Answer is there. Okay? What do you think, Ananda? Is the I permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Bhante. Now usually what I like to do in this kind of situation, I will read to you the question, and then you are the Buddha, you answer, okay?
The Buddha.
That will help you remember. Okay, so I'm Ananda, you are the Buddha. Alright? Okay, what do you think? I'm sorry, the other way around. Okay, yeah, the other way around. No, okay. What do you think, Ananda? Is the I impermanent or permanent?
Impermanent, Bhante.
Now, what is impermanent? Is it suffering or pleasurable?
Suffering, Bhante.
Now, is that which is impermanent, suffering, subject to change, fit to be seen as this is mine, I am this is myself?
Not at all, Bhante.
Okay. Now, the most difficult one is the third statement. So the Buddha said, of course, you agree that the I is impermanent, right? Number 2, it is not satisfactory, suffering. Now, if it is like that, it is impermanent, suffering, and it changes. Can you say this is mine, I am this is myself? Of course not. No self, non-self. Why does the Buddha mention these 3 sentences? Now, these 3 sentences, this is mine, I am this is myself, summarizes the problems we face. Okay? When you say this is mine, craving arises. This makes your mind think of this, think of that. This is called mental proliferation. Okay? So this is called I-making. I-making. Ego arising. Alright? So in fact you can say the Buddha's teaching start from this. A lot of the suffering start from this kind of idea. This is mine, I am this is myself. And then, okay, first I want you to look at the heading now. So the first section is the I, right? You can see the bold letter, the I, section 2, right? And then now you jump to 5. What do you see? What's the keyword there?
Form.
Form. I sees form. I is the internal sense organ, faculty. Outside is called form. What the eye sees is called form. Okay? So now the Buddha asks Ananda, is form permanent or impermanent? Now what is impermanent? Is it suffering or pleasurable?
Suffering.
Now, is that which is impermanent, suffering, subject to change, fit to be seen as this is mine, I am this is myself? Not at all. Okay. So same thing. So this is a template. The structure is the same. Only one word change here, form. So the I also, this organ is impermanent. What you see out there also same thing. Now the next one, 8, I consciousness. I consciousness. So you see they're all related to I, what the I sees, and then I consciousness. Is I consciousness permanent or impermanent?
Impermanent, Bhante.
Now what is impermanent? Is it suffering or pleasurable?
Suffering, Bhante.
Now is that which is impermanent, suffering, subject to change, fit to be seen as this is mine, I am this is myself?
Not at all, Bhante.
Right. So we have 3 things now. The I, visual object, I consciousness. Okay. These are the 3 things that work together as a triangle. When you have these 3 things, the I, something to see, and then the consciousness, in other words, attention, then there is what's called eye contact. Contact means the eye sees the object. Okay? And then from contact comes feeling. Feeling. Okay? Feeling means you either like it, you don't like it, or you don't care about it. Okay? And then suffering arises accordingly. That one is already dependent arising. Yeah? So just to simplify it, we can say that these are the triangle of experience. Sense faculty, sense organ, sense object, sense consciousness. So you take this template, this idea, then you already done with the eye, and then you apply number 2, the ear. Okay? Same, huh? Okay, look. Yes, sir? Okay. Now number 11. Now section 11. Okay? Number 11, a small number 11, page 8. Okay? The ear, same thing. So the Buddha asked Ananda, what about the ear? The ear impermanent or not? Right? Ananda of course says it's impermanent. And then what is impermanent is subject to suffering. Okay? And what is suffering? What is impermanent and suffering is non-self. Everything repeats. Okay? Now you all get the idea now. We don't have to read anymore. You understand. It's very simple. But remember, you're still not enlightened yet. That's because we are only listening, we didn't really... too fast. Right? So, this is where, as you go through your daily life, you say, okay, I'm seeing something here. Everything I see is impermanent. You reflect like that. Okay? In fact, the other teaching on the Ananda stream winning has similar structure, but there it talks about the 5 aggregates. No? So there Ananda was reflecting impermanent. That's how he became a stream winner. Okay? So remember, we're talking about monks, a very peaceful life. We all live busy lives. After this lesson, finish another hour. Once you go out there, you forget a lot of things. Then you come back here, then you remember again. So it's on off, you see. We try to remember, but not so easy for us. Right? But if you spend enough quiet moment, no matter how busy you are, that teaching is still there inside you. You will grow in wisdom. Definitely over time. The Dharma is the constant in you. Always there. Other things come and go, change, but this Dharma is constant in you. This is what it should be. And if you allow that to happen, within this life, stream winning will arise. Okay? So, same thing with the ear, the whole cycle applies to the ear. And then you look at the next one, the nose, same thing. First part, section 20, the Buddha asks, what do you think, Ananda? Is the nose permanent or impermanent? Here, nose is not the physical nose. It is what the nose does. We say nose faculty. Nose faculty. Okay? And then it is impermanent, it is unsatisfactory, non-self. Now, if it is like that, then you can own it. Okay? And then the nose, the object is smell. Right? And then you have nose consciousness. All these three are anicca, dukkha, anatta. And then comes the tongue. The tongue, here the tongue has to be taste, food. Tongue, taste, tongue consciousness. Again, all these three are impermanent, unsatisfactory, non-self. Non-self means there is no essence, right? For example, taste. There is no fixed taste, right? Even nice taste, after you eat too much, the taste is gone. You eat wrong time, the taste also is gone, right? So taste is not fixed really. No self, no essence, right? And then section 5, the body. This is section number paragraph 38. The body, this is your physical body. The object is touch. The body's function is touch or feeling, if you like. And then there is body consciousness. So these are the three elements. Okay? Each got three elements, right? So this is the body. You got body, sense faculty is body, sense object is touch, and then the sense consciousness is eye consciousness. They are all anicca, dukkha, anatta. Alright? And then the last one is the mind. 6, the mind. What do you think, Ananda? Is the mind permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, right? So the mind, what is the mind's object? Thought, okay? Then there is mind consciousness. This is very interesting. See, the Buddha actually distinguishes something called mind consciousness. So there's one aspect of the mind that is consciousness. The mind got many aspects, right? So the consciousness here refers to your attention. So the mind, thought, attention. When these three are there, then mind contact arises. That means there is thinking going on. And where there's thinking, there is feeling. Always like that. Feeling, contact, and then feeling. So there you are. We have already gone through the 6 sense bases. And each of the 6 sense bases, we apply the 3 characteristics. 3 times 6, 18. So they are called elements. So element is a general term for all these 6 senses, their objects and consciousnesses. So this is called as the 18 element cycle. So easy to remember in that sense, alright? Okay, so the reflection is finished. So the Buddha says, if you do this reflection, something wonderful happens. The path will arise. Section 56. Seeing this, Ananda, seeing thus, Ananda, the tutored noble disciple is revolves at the eye. Okay, I've underlined the word revolve because that's the key word. Now, a lot of people don't like revolves. They say, oh, revolves, what a terrible word. Another word is to be disgusted. Okay? Now, this is the best translation for the word nibbida. Some scholars, they like to be polite. They say, oh, disenchant sounds better. In fact, disenchant sounds so nice that you forget the meaning. Right? So, of course, disenchant does give some sense. But here again, we all like to quote Ajahn Chah. Ajahn Chah says, what's wrong with revulsion? He is very direct. He says, if you touch dung, it is smelly. Whatever you say, it is still smelly. So, repulse, you can't change it. It's like that. Okay? Suffering is suffering. You cannot say, oh, use a nice word. It is still suffering, Right? So why go around it until you don't know what it is? You use nice words until you don't know what it is. It's just like, people die, they cosmeticize, they make the person look so nice until you don't see the meaning of death anymore. Death is painful, death is ugly, death takes away all the wonderful things in our life. It's like that. And once you see that, then you treasure life. You begin to love and respect people who are still alive. We don't want to cosmeticize death. That is not something we enjoy. Simple as that. So revulsion is like that. Revulsion means you get shocked with it. You get disgusted with it. You don't want to be near it anymore. Suffering. You don't want to be near suffering. That's fire, Let's say this caveman, if I don't know what fire is, And then they come near, they go and put their hand inside the fire. They think, oh, very nice looking thing. What happens? You burn your hand, Then after that, are you going to do it again? No, never. When you say never, that is the meaning of revulse. I will never do it again. That's revulse. So here, the Buddha says, if you are revulsed at the eye, because this eye is it's impermanent, So don't get attached to it. This is the meaning. Alright? And then same thing with object. Same thing. It's impermanent. Don't get attached to it. Same thing with the consciousness, right? So if you are revulsed at the eye, is revulsed at form too. Is revulsed at eye consciousness too. Here it is the contact. Is revulsed at eye contact too. He is revulsed at whatever feeling that arises with eye contact as condition, whether pleasant, unpleasant, or neither pleasant nor unpleasant. In other words, neutral. Right? So there you are. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aspects. This is very close to the dependent arising already. Cause, effect, condition. How does suffering arise? You can use this pattern. First there is the I, then there's the object, and then there is the attention, I consciousness, attention. These three combined. I, object, attention, and then contact. That means you can see it. When there is contact, there is feeling. Say, wow, very nice or not nice. I like it, I don't like it. If you say, I like it, desire arises. That is called anusaya. Latent tendency of craving arises. Every time you say, I desire it, craving is reinforced. And then you look at it and say, oh yeah, this is not what I like. I don't like this. Every time you say, I don't like this, the latent tendency of hate is reinforced. And if you don't know what it is, ignorant, you don't care. Ignorance is reinforced. That's how the three unwholesome roots arise. Beautiful psychology. Very simple psychology. These Western psychologists, they were so excited when they read all this wonderful. Say, wow, someone in India 2,500 years ago came up with this idea. How come we all missed this? So the hint here is that you stop at feelings. You don't go beyond feeling, you won't suffer. Reflect feeling as impermanent. Let go, then you're okay. Because if you follow the 12 links, it goes beyond feeling, then all the suffering start coming in. So this is where you can stop it. Alright? And then same thing with the ear. The whole cycle starts again. It revolves at the ear, sounds, ear consciousness, ear contact, feeling arising from ear. Alright? You listen to sounds, say, wow, nice sound, I like this. You listen to sound, I don't like this, or I don't care about it. Then you suffer. And then next one, the nose. Nose, what do you have? Look at the column there. Now I've arranged everything nice column for you. Section 58, you just look at the column on the right. The nose, and then smell, and then below that is, what is it? Nose consciousness. Below that is nose contact, and then below that is feeling. Okay? And then same thing with tongue. Tongue, you have taste, tongue consciousness, tongue contact, and then the feeling arising from the tongue. Feeling here means like, dislike, or don't care. And then the body, section 60, body, touch, body consciousness. There's a typo there. Body contact, BODY. And then feeling, the feeling arises from the body contact. And then the mind, section 61, the mind, thought, mind consciousness, mind contact, and then feeling arising from the mind. And then this cycle is finished. Then liberation arises, section 62, The Buddha says, revulsed. In other words, letting go of all this, he is dispassionate. Dispassionate means no more attraction towards all these worldly things. Dispassionate, he is freed, no more suffering. Freed, there arises the knowledge, free. Right? Notice this sentence, very interesting, you know. The Pali says, Vimuttang iti. That's all, Vimuttang iti. Vimuttang means free, freedom. There's even no I. The Arhat doesn't even say, I am free. He doesn't say that. He says, free, just like that, you know. No subject, no object. Okay? This is the real awakening. He understands. Now this is called review knowledge. He look back and says, he understands, destroy this birth. Okay, no more rebirth now. The holy life has been lived. In other words, finish training, like Buddhist training all finished. What needs to be done has been done. All the rules, training all done. There is no more of this state of being. Okay, this is the key line here. For the Arhat, no more rebirth. For the stream winner, no more of this state of being. No more being reborn as animal, as preta, as hell being, or asura. No more of this. Because you are a stream winner. Alright? But here, Ananda is practicing to be an Arhat. These are the instructions. So you don't see the sutta saying he became Arhat. So I hope you have learned something. I know by now you must say, oh, what did Pia say? I can't remember already. Because it's like that. We tend to forget. So that's why there is repetition. Okay? So read the sutta again when you're free. Reflect on it. Occasionally even, you know, those in Thailand I see monks, they chant, you know. Suddenly they walk up and down and they chant this Pali Sutta so they can remember the text well. And in fact, they're very good in memorizing. They still keep this oral tradition alive. Okay? I don't belong to this oral tradition, unfortunately. We all learn to read. So every time I forget something, I'll go to the next kuti and ask the monk there, say, hey, can you recite for me this? And I sit down and listen. Okay, stop that for that one. Okay, and then I just note it down. So we can recite these few paragraphs that we like to. Okay, now we have a short break here.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You refer to para 56.
Yes.
It gives me the impression that this is a one-to-one teaching.
Yes. One-to-one.
Ananda, the tutored noble disciple. Because in other suttas, the Buddha also requested,
yes,
give me a teaching. So I assume those occasions are other monks are present.
Usually, no, in this case, one-to-one.
One-to-one.
Yeah. Sometimes there may be other monks. Some teachings, yes, there'll be a lot of monks. So not a big community. But this last request, normally monk to monk. For example, when Malunkyaputta came to see the Buddha actually teased him. Because Malunkyaputta became a monk long time now. So by the time he decided to take leave for retreat, he was very old already. So the Buddha basically is saying, wow, you took such a long time to come. What will the young monks say? You know why? Because Malunkyaputta was very intellectual, you know. He was asking all those 10 questions, does the world exist, not exist, all those things, you know. And the Buddha was trying to answer him, you know. So the Buddha was very patient. So he was waiting, and then when he was very old, then he asked the request to go into retreat. The Buddha said, well, why now? And then the Buddha was teasing him, and then he says, no, but I'm serious now, I want to take leave. You know. It's a very beautiful sutta, the Arahata Malunkyaputta Sutta. Right? So that's the sutta ends, and Malunkyaputta became one of the Arahats. Okay. So, any other quick questions?
So most of those Arahants, they will have to practice this one in order to become Arahant.
Not exactly this, but something similar. These are those who are close to the Buddha, who kind of like they are monks and they follow a trend of practice. So this is to help them calm their minds, and then they go into meditation. Usually it's not just listening. If they are listening, it is because of their meditation. Like Sariputta, it appears as if Sariputta was listening to the Buddha. In fact, the Buddha was not even teaching Sariputta. The Buddha was teaching his nephew. His nephew was very upset. His uncle Sariputta became a monk. So the nephew Diganaka was very angry with the Buddha. So actually he went to scold the Buddha. But then Buddha started teaching him about feeling and impermanence, and he was listening. Then he became a stream winner. Diganaka became a stream winner. And Sariputta was standing beside Buddha and fanning the Buddha. He also was listening. So you see, you can eavesdrop sutta, you still benefit, you know. So he was fanning the Buddha, listening, you know, very focused. And then he became an arahant. Nephew became stream winner. So Sariputta became arahant the easy way. Moggallana had to meditate. He had a lot of problems. The Buddha had to help him. But then Moggallana had psychic powers, wonderful psychic powers. Sariputta had great wisdom. All right? So some cases, yes, they hear, they awaken, but that's because they have been preparing for many lives before. In this life also, they meditate, and then they just hear very clearly, understand. Right? For example, I can teach you the sutta, you know. I think if I go on a Sunday, any of those classes, I don't think they understand. So you must have the right conditions. So I tell myself, this class has the right conditions. You are ready. Okay. All right. So, right? Okay. So we'll close with a short reflection. Today we have enjoyed this wonderful fruiting of good karma to look at this very rare sutta, where we see how one of the most important disciples of the Buddha, Venerable Ananda, became the teaching that made him an arahant. And for us to be able to even listen to this kind of sutta, we have done a lot of good deeds. So let us use this wonderful opportunity to cultivate wisdom, which is always there to help us cross the ocean of suffering, cross difficulties, so that we can attain awakening in this life itself. Reflecting in this way is very good karma. By the virtue, by the power of such good karma, by the three jewels, may we be blessed with good health, happiness, and wisdom, and the courage to aspire to at least stream winning in this life itself. Also, by the power of the three jewels that are sent out our loving kindness to all our loved ones, may they be well and happy. To all those who have been kind and supportive of us, may they be well and happy too. And to those who are practicing the Dharma and seeking the truth, may they too awaken in this life itself and share their wisdom with us. And by the power of the three jewels that are sent out our loving kindness to all those who are lost and having difficulty, that they too will find the right path, come to see the Dharma in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Right, so we finish our lesson, first lesson of the new year.